You know the server's a bit laggy, where you can just go through the glass, and through the glass again, like so, and like so. This is really buggy and or laggy. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I love the ability to be able to phase through glass. Hello and welcome to another episode of Outlanders. We're up to episode 16, I believe, and we are starting things off in our farming district, just as night sets, of course. So, our aims for today are to get ourselves a fully functioning and working farms, crop farms, both with our beetroot and our wheat and our potatoes and our carrots, as well as set up a full and proper a full and proper trading hub if we can find a place and how to do it. So what I'm generally thinking is, once this decides to actually sleep, there we go, is that I am going to put this either underground or at a place over here. Now I also want to be able to put in at least four other farms with the what do we call them, the sugarcane, the melons, the pumpkins and the bamboo, all of which can be pushed through a composter. So what I want to do is I also want to do something similar to season 2, I think it was, where I had all my crops going into a composter, a single composter. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work, but there's still quite a few places yet to do things first. So let's firstly figure out a design and of course where we're going to put this thing, and then we can come back to figure out where and what in the server and how we're going to build it. While I'm deciding where to build things, I decided to put a little bit of a frame around here just as an example. And what I've discovered is that even if I leave a 5 gap distance between here and the main wall, so it'll be something like this, it still is just enough room to have a 5 wide, which is what you need, a minimum you need for the sorting system. I think it might actually be 6 or 7, so this wouldn't fit two sides of sorting. And it means that so if I'm going to put another barrier like this on this side, there isn't too much room here. So what that probably means is that I've kind of made a mistake with the way I've designed these two. The original idea was to have something in the middle, but that something might not be another building. It's going to have to be, say, a fountain or something in the middle. Now that I'm thinking about it, something in the middle here that looks something garden-like would probably be a lot better. What that does mean, however, is that either I'm going to have to move my sorting downstairs or down underground, which means a lot of digging, or move it to on this side, which is probably the more likely option. I do think that the building's still going to have a significant underground portion, but overall this middle bit is definitely going to have to change, which is a bit disappointing. I thought I'd just check to make sure exactly how much distance I need for my sorting system. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just for the redstone bits, and then you need 6, 7 for the chest itself. So that's 7 blocks. So it turns out the decision to not put the building in the middle of the two crop farm buildings is a good one. However, I've just discovered this has happened. Someone's egged this, and evidently it's been a while since all of these are adult chickens. Or at least most of them look like adults. So, looks like it's time to go on an exterminarium project. Kill off all the chickens, including the ones that somehow lagged through the bottom of the... over here. Oh, come on, really? How many are there down here? Okay, that looks like all of them. But yes, someone apparently seems to have tried and pranked me, and it must have been a while ago because I haven't noticed it till now. A little bit more time has passed and I have finally decided where I'm going to do this thing. I've decided I'm just going to do a simple tunnel from point A to point B, but it's going to be, well, obviously as a tunnel it's going to be underground, but it's going to go off in various directions as well. So at some point there'll be a tunnel going this way, that I'll have some villagers, this way that I'll have some villagers, and so on. So where the villagers are as well, there's going to be some crop farms. So what these are going to do is they're going to drop directly into hoppers or into chests, and then they will be able to be right next to the villagers, so I can get them out and ready to trade straight away. Now I'm not exactly sure I'm going to put the rest of the crops, the sugarcane and whatnot, but that will come in a little bit. So I just did a simple tunnel and simple hole down, but what I'm going to do here is just simply put a ceiling, I guess you can call it, and fill this up, and then I can put the roadway back on top, just like I suppose what a normal tunnel building project would be like. So, not much longer to go. We should have this done very, very quickly. And as you can see, I've now covered up this and put in the ceiling. So I've also put in a couple of poke holes at the moment. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it, but if you remember, our bit to store things is 8. And so I've carved out an area, so we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and these big sections in the middle are 8. So this is currently what I'm thinking. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to go, because it would mean that if I have storage, it would be storage, storage, and then I'd have a sheer wall here with perhaps villagers in the middle. That probably would work, I guess. I'm still not sold on this idea. I may or may not need to expand the tunnel even further back, which is probably not ideal, but we shall see. Now, I do have another problem at the moment, and you can see it's actually with this. The zombie actually spawning actually helped me very much there. So you can see that this area is not as well lit as it should be, and that is a problem. So what the solution I thought of, which doesn't seem to be working at the moment, is putting candles here. So I don't want anything that the villager can spawn on or can climb on top of. I definitely do not want the villager jumping up and down around these crops, because that way it's going to be going up and down and potentially break. Now I can't put it on top of these things, which is even more annoying. It seems I need either a solid block, like so, or I need just a full block, which is a little bit annoying. So, actually, will glass work is a question. So let's see, glass on top of there, and no, it doesn't. So, I need a completely solid block, which is going to be really annoying. Okay, so I'm going to have to work on that and figure out exactly how I'm going to make sure that there are no other mobs inside here, because having mobs inside here would be a complete disaster. Well, it turns out with a little bit of manipulation we can actually get the candles on here. Because they float, just like we proved in, I think, 2 episodes ago in our maze, we can, if we firstly take out the water, take out the block, we need to mine that one out so we can actually get in. Then we put a block in, put the candles on, 2, 3, come on, 2, why is it not working? Of course it's not going to work when I'm on camera. And it's lagging, 2, 3, 4, finally, there we go. Then we can put the water back, find our block, there we go, and put it in. Then the water can go back, and we need our hoe, there we go, potato. So, and of course the last thing, light it up. So that should give me a light level of 12, which in theory could possibly make right here or right here a little bit dark, which we're not quite sure. Then of course there's these lights here, so it's possibly right here, which we're not quite sure about. But once it gets dark again, we'll have a look and see what happens. So for the time being, I'm going to get these things done and work out if I do need to put in any more lights. And with a little bit of time, that is now done. Now I did have to put in some candles in the middle because there was a bit of a dark spot, and you can still see there are some dark spots right here. And, well, there isn't one here because of the light, but I don't think this is enough for mobs to spawn. I'm going to have to do a bit of testing on that, but I did have a little bit of time wandering around here, and nothing has spawned in here or along the path, so I'm pretty certain that it should be fine. On the other side, given that I've got a nice convenient standing spot for a villager, I decided to put a glowstone block right in the center, so that should do quite well in keeping at bay any zombies especially, or any other mobs. Now, I'm still trying to decide, did I actually forget to light this? That's a bit silly. There we go. So, I'm still trying to decide whether I put in leaves or something else as a barrier to prevent the villagers jumping in, or do I just leave it and hope that they don't and see what happens? I'm considering the second because the first option is not ideal. Having leaves as a roof here is not ideal, and it would definitely ruin the aesthetic of what I'm trying to go for. So, something to consider at least. Anyway, after that little section in cleaning up my farms and lighting them up so they don't get demolished by mobs, I have finished off these tunnels. So I think I expanded a little bit this way, as well as put exit portals here, here, and here. I've also put in all at the bottom of it, which is all just jungle wood or stripped jungle logs, which I think gives a nice contrast between the stone, the dark wood, and the light wood here. So what I'm thinking as well is along here, I'm going to put leaves to disguise the redstonery, and I've also marked out where the segments are going to go. So naturally I'm going to have a segment here and here, which is going to be storage, I think. Then we'll have storage on the left and the right. Then it takes 8 blocks, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 7 blocks really. Then we'll have a wall, I think there's 7. So we have chest, redstone, 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 redstone. Then we'd have a wall to protect it, and 3 blocks, which is enough space to put in a villager wall here, a sorting block here, the villager, and its disguising block there. So I actually could go back by 1 block. No, actually I can't, because it's, redstone, redstone, chest, redstone, 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 disguising wall, and the villager will go in there. So yeah, I think it's about right. I may have 1 more block of space, but actually if we go down here as well, we can see that it'll work out quite nicely. So in this segment we're going to have villagers, and then we're going to have another set of redstone sorting on this side, I think, or on this side. I'm not quite sure which yet. It's still quite a lot in the air, but I've got the general idea of what I want to go for. So what I think I'll do for first is work out exactly where this lies on top of the ground, and see what I would need to do to get the redstone going for the farms, as well as start getting the redstone in for the rest of the sorting systems. So if we come up here, our blocks are there and there, so it sort of falls directly underneath both of them, which is actually quite nice because that's what I want, especially on this side. Might need to adjust a little bit, because on this side I definitely need rails going under here, which may or may not affect how I do the farms in the future. So quite a bit more thinking to do, but overall I'm pretty happy, because okay, so if we have the crops there, we're going to need crops around that level, so we need rails here on this level, which means we need the track goes there, so the track's going to go on this level. So that's going to be a little bit tricky with the way I've got this. So a little bit more thinking. This side's going to be trickier than this side, but we should be able to have it going, hopefully. Hopefully. I decided to forget about doing the crop bits for the time being and work on the rest of the storage, because if we come up here for a second, we can see that I've got a tiny bit of a chest monster. It's not as big as other people's would be at this stage, but I do have lots of chests around my storage, my redstone factory, and back at my main base, and of course all these chests here, all of which have many and varied items, which, yeah, they're just all scattered in here. There's a few bits of crops and things and non-stackables and whatnot, but all of that would be a lot more suitable if it was dumped into a single sorting system. Now, the sorting system I've got back at the main base, or the house, town base, whatever, is something like this. So we've got a double row of chests, and the sorting system would go up to here. Now that does have the consequence that I am very, very limited in the space here. So yes, so if I was to dig this out, you can see that's the ground level. The ground level is just below this, meaning that I don't have the space to put a chest or any kind of sorting bits here, which is a little bit annoying, but I have thought about that a little bit more. I'm thinking a water tower, so if I was to go here, a bit of a water feature, and not a water feature, a water fountain that would bring the items up and then along through here would probably work best, I think. It might take a little while for it to run through, but overall would work smoother and be a little bit better than an item elevator. That doesn't solve the problem, because I've still need more room. So what I'm thinking is that this thing is going to have to go down by perhaps 1 block. 1 or 2 blocks, I'm not quite sure which would be better. 2 would give me a lot more room. 1 would probably not be enough, but 2. 2 would probably be better if I'm thinking about it. So I'm going to have to remove all these chests which I've placed, all these decorations that I've put in, and reduce the entire thing by 2 blocks, which is going to be a little bit annoying but shouldn't take too long. And with a little bit of time, we've got ourselves a working elevator system. So this is a little bit different to the standard one which I'd normally do, which is completely redstone. But if I just dump a couple of items in here, let's say 32 hoppers, so the dispenser will quickly project those all the way up, and even though it's a little bit laggy, you can see them eventually making their way across into here. So that should eventually filter through the 32 hoppers and through here. Obviously I don't have the sorting system in yet, but I can get that going. So it's time for me to start building it. Now, one of the things I did think is that since I'm no longer going to be... Yes, it took off. Since I'm no longer going to be really doing much with this area over here, I might come back and build a bit of a town, I think. I'm not really sure. This served me well as a starter town, but it's not really something I'm going to be continuing on in the future. But anyway, since I'm no longer going to be coming back here regularly, I think I'm going to rip out this sorting system and transfer all the things that I need over to the old one. So that should get me a fair amount of redstone and all the resources, but it is going to be a hassle to get all of this stuff over. Since I don't have many spare shulkers, it's going to be a bit of a pain to get all this stuff. So, a long time yet coming, but we should start ripping it all out. So, I'm really kind of looking forward to this, kind of not, but in the end it's going to have to be done. And with a little bit more time, I've got myself the sorting system in place. I ripped out the old one and have transferred it over to here. Now, of course, the question is, what do I put in it? And I'm thinking, at least for the first one, that I'm going to put my animal goods, all my chicken and all my beef and all the food and other resources that come off it. So mostly all this kind of stuff. I'll leave the eggs out because they're going to go into the areas directly close to the trading hall, because they're things I need to trade with. So now I need to dump off all of these useless at the moment goods and dump in all the things. Here we go. This might take a while, but it shouldn't take too long, hopefully. I've been doing a little bit of thinking as to how I want the overall system to be organized, so not just this segment, but all other segments, and I've come to the conclusion that I'd like just this one to be mob drop. So I've gone into a test world and counted up all the kinds of things that I'm going to need, and I think I'm going to need at least 26, and I think I've made this one 26 slots, that is. So I've made this one 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I've made this one 28 with the space to go another 3 if I so choose, but I probably won't. I'll probably just make that an ending block there. So instead of having the 2 hopper chains or 2 elevators on each end, or 1 elevator on each end, I'm just going to have the hopper line loop around. So all the way from there, loop around and come to a conclusion here. Now that does mean I can add a couple of more slots here, and I probably will, but for the time being with 28, I don't think I'm going to need another one anytime soon. So I'm going to put these hoppers in and then start on the second side, which is going to have all my resources, I think, all my stone type blocks and all the other building blocks that I'm going to need to continue this project. So not much farther to go. Let's continue on with this massive building project. And just after I say that and finish that last clip, I just remembered I've actually got a little bit more of a problem here, because over here we have beetroot, meaning that we need rails to go. Well, we need the beetroot to be grown here, the rails to go here, so we need this one. This layer here is where the bottom is going to go, and any collection bit. So that is at that level. So if we just move along here, keeping our cursor over there, we are here. Now that, in theory, actually could still work, now that I think about it. It's still very, very, very tight, but it could be done. So, actually, let me just check that. So we got the beetroot there, the rails here, so at this height here, which is below that one. This is one up, half a block down, so I think it's still fine here, I think. But a little bit more testing is going to have to be done just to make sure, because this is going to be incredibly tight if I don't make it, if I'm not careful. So it looks like after just a bit of testing, we're going to have just, and I mean just, enough room. So if the chests are here, then we're going to have 2 lines of hoppers. So the hopper will be on here, and the rail is going to sit here. So the hopper being here will not actually pick up anything for the rail there. So we've just managed to get this through, which is, I'm very happy with that. I'm actually very, very happy that I've managed to get that just done. So it turns out I can start the continuation of this project to get this all done. But I'm probably going to do most of this side off screen, so I'm not boring you with continually doing the same thing on camera. I took a couple of days off from recording to build this as well as do a few other things in real life, and I'm pretty happy with it. I basically replicated what I've got here and put it over here, yet it doesn't yet leap all the way around because I'm still considering if I need to add a few more slots. But I have been diligently adding all these things, so you can see all the building blocks that are not wood all the way through here, including dripstone, which I don't think I'm not going to need for a while. I've got all the nether things on this side. Well, okay, when I say not nether things, I got all that kind of stuff, and then we get into the things that are sort of nether, and then we've got these two, which don't really fit in the nether, but they aren't going to fit over here. If I keep expanding just strictly on that, this side would be massively long, and this side would be massively short. So I decided to cheat a little and put these things on that side, but that should work pretty well. So, I think that should be just about all the things I'm going to need, except for the woods. I think that's all the stuff I'm going to need to store, for the time being at least, on this side. Now, I didn't get around to actually doing the crop bits, and I sort of ran out of time and did do the lighting and all that, but I think I'm going to have to do this next episode or a future episode, because I've just about run out of time for today. It's just about the time I would normally finish off, so I'm going to do all the crops either off camera or in the next episode, and we'll see how we go, because unfortunately I have run out of time for today. So thank you very much for watching. I shall see you in the next one as I go through the portal. I shall see you next time. Till then, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you then. Goodbye.